Hello and welcome to EDF 4.1, Shadow of New Despair. Looks like the mothership is anchored somewhere. Maybe this is our shot. Maybe. Is the game gonna be over already? No. You can probably see there's quite a few other episodes. But yeah, here we are.
Our mission is to shoot down the mothership.
So, yeah. So we got already the grenade launcher or whatever. Well, we'll see. UM1, okay, didn't pick the wrong one. We doing this, right? Yeah. Okay. Come on! Not enough. I think it is gonna start smoking now, though. Which is good for us. The RAR is really good because, like, the short-range DPS is just insane.
Wing diver team has arrived.
So my tactic of running up to the enemy and shooting them in the face works really well. Copy? Yeah, there we go. It works surprisingly well. You know, it's, yeah. I didn't expect it to last this long. I have no plans. Yeah. And so it continues.
Don't come this way! Keep your cool! Leave it to me!
Fuck. Fuck. I can't aim with this.
If you give up, it's over!
Alright. There we go.
Reloading now!
You see, it's not actually a matter of me using... I know it's a worse idea to aim with this than with, like, something I can aim with. But it's about the message of the thing, you know?
I won't let you die!
Anyways, yeah, what's up? I guess the spaceship. But yeah. You know, I've recently been trying to do something which I thought of doing for a while, but I never really got around to it. And it was writing down, I know it's like, you know, funny, it's funny to me, but I ended up writing down, like, just a big list of N64 games and their release dates, loosely, not every single one. I did that in the beginning 2 years, like 96 and 97, and I guess also 2001, but I wanted to, like, actually go through each individual thing and to make a big sort of coherent list, because if there's one thing which I've always tried showing to people, and I will do, like, a very rough, similar thing for the PlayStation, right? Of course, you can't really do that on a system with over 4,000 games, but, you know, because what I want to explain to people is just the fact that, like, the issue of the N64 was basically the game drought, where, kind of similarly to the Wii U, I mean, it had a lot of, like, you know, it had a lot of games that were, like, well, okay, it didn't have a lot of them. It did have, like, you know, first-party system seller games. The problem was, it just didn't have anything else. Usually, whenever a system kind of shits the bed, it's kind of like the reverse, right? Or like it's both. I feel like the N64 is a rare example of a system which both had, like, really attractive system sellers, but also, you know, Mario 64, Banjo at the time, you know, GoldenEye, Zelda. It had its system sellers, right? It just didn't really have mostly anything past that. And it's weirdly, like, you know, the inverse for, like, a lot of systems. Like, the big reason why the Xbox series systems have struggled in sales, and honestly, sort of the Xbox One, was basically because, I mean, you know, the Xbox One was a decent place for third-party stuff, but it was really lacking in the first-party department. The Wii U had okay first-party games, but again, they just weren't as interesting because, like, you know, there was no Mario Odyssey, there was just Mario 3D World, which was a good game, it was a really good game, but, like, you know, considering it just wasn't what people really wanted at the time, you can sort of understand, like, you know, why people maybe weren't as hyped about the Wii U as, you know, they may have been for the Switch. Or, like, especially for, like, 3D World later, because, you know, within the context of a post-Mario Odyssey world, 3D World kind of feels fresh and, you know, fresh and fun. It's just a smaller scale, enjoyable Mario adventure, but, like, when you have like 3D World, it's you know, and that's the last 3D Mario game, and the one before it was 3D Land, and then the one before that was Galaxy 2. You know, you can understand how people were feeling like, oh yeah, every single 3D Mario is gonna go, you know, and become more and more linear. Which I find it kind of funny that people are afraid of that, and now the one thing everybody is afraid of is the next big Nintendo game becoming, like, a big, endless open world sort of thing. Because that's kind of the direction a lot of Nintendo stuff has slowly been heading in. Regardless, yeah, what I wanted to do was partially, obviously, you know, I was running it in a script format because I would want to eventually turn it into some kind of video, but I was also partially doing it because, from my memory, I knew that, like, you know, the best years of the N64, I believe, were, like, you know, 98 and 99, which isn't incorrect, but, like, the N64's best year was 99, and even then, that is, like, the one year where so many of the key releases that people remember, like the Zelda games or the Banjo games, didn't release. And also Mario 64. You know, that's self-explanatory. I mean, you had Smash Bros, which was also important, but Smash 64 was, not a bad game, obviously, but it's just, like, kind of funny how it's, I'd argue, more overshadowed by its sequel than any other game from, like, the really notable N64 titles. Okay, I mean, you can bring up, like, you know, I think it's just because of how big Melee was for the scene. But yeah, it's kind of like how, I don't know. I find it interesting because for, like, other series, you know, Zelda 1 obviously still has its notability, so does Mario Bros. 1, like, and I guess also the, I guess maybe Arcade Mario Bros. Has been overshadowed in a similar sort of way, but they're different genres, so I don't think it's the same. Look, regardless, what I'm trying to say is that, 1999 was, like, the best year for the N64, and even then, you may have had, like, a couple decent quality games a month. At that, even, you know, in some months, there was still really not much. I just had to give up reading through all the game lists, and because originally I tried to give an explanation for what every game was, and then I realized I don't want to do this, because at some point, I was just saying there was this fighting game that was abysmal, there was this mediocre racing game, there was this sports game, there was that sports game. And all of them kind of blended together into, well, what actually happened on the N64, which is that half the bloody library were okay sports and racing games. Okay, some of the racing games were shit, but, like, primarily they were just fine, non-terrible experiences. Same with the sports games. And then you had, like, a bunch of fighting games, and some of them were bad, some of them weren't terrible. Also, wait, the mothership's right away. Wait, did I forget to increase the voices back? No, I brought it back. Okay. And, like, that's kind of the problem, right? The problem we run into with the N64, and this is something which I've kept trying to explain to some people, but they won't understand it. It's the issue that, like, there's just not that much to play unless you are specifically seeking, like, to play, you know, Nintendo 64 games. Because there are a lot of, quote-unquote, you know, Nintendo 64 games. If you are a Nintendo 64 YouTuber reviewing games, you could have a decent time. If you are a kid, you know, buying games, or I guess, you know, renting games, there are games to be rented. Hopefully not bought, because a lot of them kind of shit. But, you know, it's one of those things where if you actually like any of the more complicated genres, you know, if what you're looking for isn't a sports or a racing game, chances are you're going to be remarkably disappointed with the N64. Because I know from my own experience, like, when I was trying to look at it, it's like, there are a little under 300 games, like 290 of them, right? 297? And 296 and one PAL exclusive, so like 297. Yeah, that's really not a lot. And the end result of that is, well, what the fuck are you gonna play? There's so much of it is just like, okay, well, you know, we have Mario and we have Zelda. And once you are, you know, done playing both Mario and Zelda, you can go and play, you know, more of this sort of same-ish with Banjo. And then there's, and then, oh my god. And then there's, you know, the other guy. And it's just a bunch of baloney.
Choose loadout.
Okay, do we have anything better here? Maybe I'll have to switch to a... No, this is an okay mission for this level. Well, it's a terrible mission because it has the fucking Rotariuses, but yeah. So yeah, like, the issue I feel with the N64 is just that, like, unless you are in this particular group who, you know, likes, the Nintendo 64 games because they're the Nintendo 64 games, if you're looking for, like, a specific experience, or, like, for stuff from a specific non-Nintendo company, you will be, like, really disappointed. I find it kind of funny how, like, because you gotta realize, right? A big thing... Oh no, I'm being pulled in. Okay, it's better for me to just head in the direction I'm being pulled. Anyways, yeah. A big issue that, like... Okay, well, not safe yet. I don't know where the... Shit. There's a nest somewhere here. Anyways, yeah, like, the issue I run into is the fact that, like, okay, here's the thing, right? I remember one big thing that, there was this interesting Ultimation Media article about, the Final Fantasy VII's development stuff, and, one note that I found really kind of sweet, but also, like, funny, is the fact that, like, the head guy, I forget who it was, my apologies, but he basically said, like, his issue was that, like, even on the N64, he felt like, because of the, like, cartridge sizes he needed for Final Fantasy games on that games were just getting too expensive, and that he was, like, you know, paying nearly 12,000 yen for Final Fantasy, I think either 5 or 6, I don't remember, was just something that he didn't like because he felt like people were getting excluded out of a hobby like gaming. And that's why he decided to, you know, that was one of the deciding factors that made him choose CDs, and that's why Final Fantasy VII cost 6,800 yen, I believe the value was, in, Japan. Which, as you can imagine, you know, that's that's nice to hear. It's nice to hear that there at least were people in the industry who cared, but, you know, it's very much one of those things where, like, people don't really discuss this as much, because, you know, back in the day, you could rent games, and cartridges were a lot easier to rent, because it's a lot harder to break a cartridge compared to a CD player. Sorry, compared to a CD. But that's sort of the thing, right? On the N64, you would rent cartridges and then buy the ones who you really liked. And then, like, on the PS1, you just buy a bunch of games. And obviously, you know, acquire them through other means, but I'm discussing the official stuff here because I feel like it's more fair to do that. But generally, oh, by the way, yeah, this isn't where the mission ends. I think it still continues. It's just like a funny thing where, like, back in the day, because, like, the margin... Basically, the thing is that on the PS1, the margins for a successful game were wider, because so much less money had to be put into... Oh, no, that's what the mission is, huh? So much less money had to be put into actual, like, let's call it game publishing with cartridges and such, that it was just more profitable to make games on the PlayStation. And, oh, I should have maybe switched to the other grenade line. Ah, we'll be fine with this one. So, like, yeah, at the end of the day...
Ranger 31, as you fall back,
theoretically...
range of the snipers.
Okay.
Ranger 31, roger that!
Like, you know, theoretically, when you look at it,
This is strategic command headquarters.
you gotta have
Large numbers
a...
of giant
Wait,
insects
how
are approaching.
far? Oh,
All
that
units
hits really
prepare to
far.
attack.
Oh, I think that actually hits some of them. That's fine.
Ranger 31, the enemies will soon be in sniper range. Hurry!
Is there someone?
All units, commence attack.
But yeah, it's very much one of those things where it's kind of like why people don't understand why, you know, cartridges was so nice for a lot of development teams. It's because, you know, okay, if you're one of the big dogs like Nintendo, obviously from your perspective, you know, cartridges are better. But if you're like a developer, just a normal developer, then discs are going to be the superior option. And something which I do find kind of funny is whenever this kind of debate happens in terms of everything, it always gets framed in a way that is most, let's call it, beneficial to the cartridge side. Because whenever people discuss it, it always goes like the counter-argument is what fits best. Even if, like, you know, somebody who is pro-disc, like me, would give out the remarkably simple argument that the extra space more than made up for the drawbacks. And then the counter-argument to this would be, you know, but Nintendo, yeah, but like, you know, but pirates could copy discs more easily, which was problematic. And then if I explain like, oh yeah, but they're also more expensive, and there are like a lot of the other drawbacks, then the conversation will then shift to, well, why don't we talk about their performances then? And then when you explain that it's, you know, not that big of a deal, then the conversation... It's a very long running around to defend some stuff, and it's stupid. And I'm aware that it's like you are fighting against somebody's childhood, because yeah, that's basically what it is. But like, sometimes your childhood can be really disappointing. I had a guy in a server trying to tell me how good games used to be, but he didn't really play, like, you know, oh yeah, the SNES, what did he play? The Super Metroid? Did he play, you know, fucking Mario? Did he play Mario World? Did he play Super Mario RPG? Did he play Final? No, he played fucking Boogerman. And that's also something which people forget. One thing which I really like about Scott the Woz is basically, he is not a poser in anything. He will just say, you know, he will just give you it how it is, from his mind to his mouth in terms of games, even if it's like, you know, not really appealing to anyone. Like, you know, when he was a kid, he owned a GameCube. Did he play any of the high quality, you know, Zelda games? Did he play, you know, Mario Sunshine? No, he played SpongeBob and Nickelodeon games because to a child's mind, those are more interesting. So it's like, you know, people often think to themselves, wow, you know, kids who were growing up with the PS2 must have had it so good, except they were probably playing, you know, or like, you know, back in the day with games, but, you know,
Giant insects are closing in on the combat area.
they were probably playing different things to what you would imagine. And this is sort of like the PlayStation 2 curse for a lot of younger kids. It's that the PlayStation 2, there was a higher chance you would accidentally pick up something good, because there were just more games, you know? So, like, you know, there was a higher chance you may pick up something like Dynasty Warriors, or you may pick up something like, one of the actually good platformers. Because, you know, on the Nintendo, on the GameCube, right? Like, once you... It is kind of interesting how, like, the PS2 kind of had its own little renaissance of platforming games. Because, like, you had Jak and Daxter, Sly Cooper, Ratchet and Clank, blah, blah, blah. You had a bunch of them. And what I find kind of funny is how many of those games were just, like, overall just great. So as a kid on the PS2, you had a higher chance of playing a game like that. But on the N64, you either had, like, the Nintendo child-friendly stuff, or a lot of, like, licensed garbage. And that's just how it was. You just gotta keep that in mind, right? Because whenever people talk about their childhood on some kind of video game system, like, what you would assume to be their childhood is probably gonna be, like, wildly different to what, you know, you may have experienced. Like, for instance, you know, when I was a kid, I had quite a few Hot Wheels games. Were they any good? They were very... nah, okay. But that's the thing, right? Like, oh my god. It's not like my gaming experience becomes invalidated. Because you know, it's not like, you know, you didn't... It's complicated, because on one hand, obviously, like, the experience of somebody whose, like, gaming childhood included Final Fantasy and, like, you know, Metal Gear Solid, that person probably has some more value to what they're gonna say in terms of, you know, what's good or what's bad compared to, like, you know, somebody who's only played Fortnite. And this is where I feel like modern gaming's flaws are most obvious. Is the fact that, like, these forever active live service games basically put people into a big loop where they just play the same few games over and over again and never really evolve, right? Because back in the day, let's say that you were a little kid and you only owned, like, you know, kiddie games on the PS1. Then as you entered, like, your teen years and you bought, like, a PS2 or whatever, your parents bought it, but you know what I mean. Like, maybe instead of playing fucking SpongeBob also on the PS2, you maybe bought some other games like Grand Theft Auto, or, you know, something which seemed more cool, and you would sort of, you know, your gaming taste would sort of mature and develop. But, now, you know, with like a lot of live service stuff. It's very much just like constantly playing the same game from like childhood to adult. Because people think about it, you know, Fortnite came out in like 2018. That was 8 years ago. There are people who started playing that game when they were like, you know, 6, and now they're gonna be like, what, 14, 15, and like, they're gonna keep playing it. They're gonna keep playing it forever. Because it's one of those forever games. And obviously Minecraft has existed in this sort of way. Oh look, we got a bunch of guns. You know, like, Minecraft has existed in... we can't use the Fusion Blaster because you can't reload it, so in single player, it's kind of ass. Also, this one's horrible because there is no auto-fire.
Choose loadout.
And there is no improved...
Select a mission.
Huh.
Select a deploying.
Seems like, I'm gonna do the bit, don't worry. But yeah, it's just disappointing to see how, like, gaming is kind of... Because that's, like, the real plague on gaming. Not like... Oh, wait, I'm not gonna be able to reach some of these. I'm gonna have to restart.
Choose loadout. Rangers can
I was expecting... Yeah, I was expecting,
Select deploying.
the thing in the... Whatever. But yeah, it's depressing to see because it's just like... There's so much of this stuff happening now, where companies keep trying to make forever games, and nobody can move on from anything. And, I mean, there used to be forever games, but now I'm thinking, like... World of Warcraft was definitely a negative on the overall gaming ecosystem, because it convinced companies that, you know, it was one of the first forever games, but, like... Maybe it would have been overall better. Maybe it would have been overall better for Minecraft to just stop development after, like, 1.0. But now, basically every single game is just gonna keep on going. Well, maybe not every single, but, like, so many of these big games are, like, just trying to go on forever and ever and ever, and, like... Calm down. It's okay for something to end.
Ranger team, move forward and exterminate the enemy.
It's nice the grindbusters can just destroy things instantly. Would have been useful a few missions earlier, but hey, for once the EDF's coming and helping us. Seems like an easy mission. Hopefully no copyright-free colossal walking lizards appear. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's one of those things which you can, like, you know, do nothing about. But hey, can you open up the bays, or maybe not?
This is Fencer 1. We're attacking the transport ships. Back us up. We have fencers attacking the transport ships. Support them.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like, you know, seeing the state of the industry as it is now is, like, especially problematic, really, because, like, I mean, you've seen the situation right now. You've seen what's been happening to so many of these companies.
The enemy is dead.
Oh, more transport ships incoming. And what's been happening that's, like, really concerning is how many quote-unquote gamers are, like, for some reason in support of this shit. Like, have you seen this? some of these
Transport
guys
ship
are like
destroyed.
genuinely in support of you know, game companies and like so many people losing their jobs just because like, you know, they've been convinced by dumbass internet politics that like evil game developers are
Return to headquarters.
shoving, you know,
Ranger
programs
team,
into video.
destroy
It's
the remaining
insane.
transport ships.
And I keep seeing it now, like with the more news there are from layoffs, where like, you know, according to these guys, all of id Software's, you know, programmers were all secretly in on every. It's insane. There's so many of these companies, and none of the managers are getting fired. Like, Xbox Studios had like 14 layers of management or some shit. And I don't think any of them got fired. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like, it's crazy.
Let's look for enemies.
You're absolutely right.
And what do you even say about this? There are like so many people who, I mean, maybe it's hopefully it's a small minority of like 10 million leaders, but like,
We have a problem. There's a giant creature incoming.
What? What about the defense line?
Seems to have broken through.
And it's
like,
coming here now? Great.
oh my god, there we go. And like,
Attention, all units.
it's this
Danger,
very. I've
danger.
mentioned this in previous
A new species
videos,
of giant
right?
creature is headed your way.
But there's this sort of very nihilistic and overall just like remarkably stupid idea that like you know, gaming has already died. Now it's our turn to laugh at everything failing. It's stupid.
Oh my god!
It's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. And it's just like, you know, instead of, oh yeah, look, it's the copyright-free lizard.
You want to let that thing run around loose? Then let's put him down.
It's very much one of those things where, like,
If we don't stop it here and now, more towns will pay the price. Soldiers, bring down that giant.
I just don't want to, like, fucking, I don't know, because, like, it's one of those things where, what do you even say to that, right? Because there's nothing you can say, really, when it comes down to somebody whose entire argument is, you know, bad things are happening and that's good. Also, when good things happen, that's bad. There's no arguing. The only way to argue this person is like with the shovel. There's nothing you can really, you know, with the rock if you run out of shovels. That's basically, you can't argue with somebody whose entire, like, and by rock I mean, you know, not even, you get it. And it's one of those things where it's like, well, why would you be bothered? Well, because I don't want very clearly, you know, outsiders attacking my hobby and trying to destroy it. You know, people who clearly don't actually care about gaming, just celebrating when bad things happen in the hobby.
When we saw it moving toward
Why
land, we
should I
built
be
a
okay
defense
with
line
that?
on
It's
the
my
coast.
hobby.
But it broke straight through like it didn't
I
even
don't want
notice.
these tourists
From there, it
destroying
went
it
right for the
because
city.
they believe, you know,
So far, it looks like
random fucking
its hide is
bullshit.
natural armor. Too tough for any of our weapons.
What do you mean? He's
That can't
bleeding
be
just
true.
fine.
We keep hitting it over and over, but no matter what we do, it just doesn't make a scratch.
It
anything
seems
possibly
bleeding
stand up to
purple
this
blood
much
just fine.
firepower?
Oh, what's it doing? Oh, it's like some kind of lightning storm. Yeah, this is, I think this is a level where,
Where's the leader?
I think this is one of those levels where you just have to kind of size up the enemy and its attacks and not actually defeat it. I think it's going to start running away soon.
It's walking away like nothing happened. I still don't believe it.
Yeah,
There is no such thing as an unkillable monster.
well, in the EDF games, maybe. back here, you fucking... Come back here.
For reference, this creature is now designated Guinness.
Can I... Hold on, haven't you? Wait. Come on. Oh, the house got destroyed. Never mind. I'll have to do it further away. We got the Stampede.
Choose loadout.
What is
Rangers
that?
can equip
It's,
2 weapons.
Oh, I know what the Stampede is. It's a really stupid grenade launcher. But yeah, see you next time when we continue defending the Earth forcefully. Goodbye.